So today I'm excited to chat with Dan, also known as Dodger Dan. And if you're on social media, which I'm sure you are, we're talking about all things Dodgers today and about you, Dan, and your rise in social media. So first things first, I want to hear about you, your life, where you live, because we know not every Dodger fan lives in LA or California for that matter. But I want to know where you're from and the root of becoming a Dodger fan.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for reaching out and asking me to come on. I still don't find myself to be like a big creator, so I think I was a little bit surprised that you asked me, especially with some of the names you've had on. But I was born in LA. I lived in the Hancock Park area until around third grade, and then actually moved to Burbank. I'm sure many people who listen to you have lived or interacted with the city of Burbank. And then I spent a lot of time outside of California, college in Michigan, spent some years in New York, lived in San Francisco for a little bit, and then finally found myself back in Los Angeles in like 2023. I want to say full time. Yeah, around that time I moved back, and then I've been back ever since. But that's kind of been my journey, and sports has always been a big part of my life with my dad, especially. He moved here very young, so he loves like the Yankees, the Lakers, the Cowboys, and the Dodgers. And so sports being a big thing, I just always gravitated towards it. Played a lot of sports, and I think for the Dodgers, it's really grown over the last, I would say, like 10 years or so. As like my interest in the NBA kind of waned, my love for the Dodgers really started to grow more and more, and they've definitely become the only team I think in my adulthood that I like really root for still with like emotion and stuff like that. Everything else I just kind of like watch and pay attention to, but the Dodgers are the only team I think I truly love at this point
So
in
were
my
you a
life.
Laker fan?
I was growing up, and I don't
Okay.
want to create anger amongst your listeners, but I
Yeah,
was
it's okay.
I was indoctrinated as very anti LeBron James. So when he joined, it was just hard for me, I think, to like rationalize that.
Same. You're
So
not the only one,
okay,
okay?
yeah, it's been a little bit of a cold winter there, but if he
Yeah.
leaves, I think I'm very much open to coming back to the Laker fandom. But I don't
Which
think
I
they'll accept
think
me, but it's fine.
I think Laker news is isn't there rumors that he may be asking to leave or is that
I
like a
made a video
complete
about that
lie?
yesterday.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think just given his age and where he's at, I totally understand. But I'm just gonna again put that to the side for now until it's truth, and then we'll go from there as far as the fandom and things
I
like
know.
that.
I stopped watching when Kobe left.
Yeah,
That's kind
same.
of my little
Same. So
milestone with the
I'm
team.
glad I'm not the only one here. And in the comments, I know a lot of people resonate with that. There's a lot of people who disagree with me, and I think that's the fun part of sports. You can have a very strong opinion on something that doesn't really matter, in the grand scheme of things. I think that's fun to kind of go back and forth on that stuff.
So what was the route that kind of sealed the deal with becoming a Dodger fan?
Yeah, so I obviously am big about kind of rooting for your regional team. I think, although I don't judge anyone who says like, "Oh, I live in LA, but my favorite team is like the Kansas City Chiefs." It's like that's fine,
I
all
mean,
good.
I live in San Diego.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
there you
But
go.
again, a lot of transplants out of San Diego, they want to keep their love for
Yes.
the Dodgers. But I think for me, it always was. I was born here. I was kind of indoctrinated into this. I grew up at a time when Chano Park played for the Dodgers, and then Hyunjin Ryu came to the Dodgers. So I think just having like a very steady Korean presence with the Dodgers is always something that kind of resonated with me. And so through that, I just, always rep Dodger blue, always rep Dodgers clothing. And the LA logo is so iconic. So it's hard not to kind of tie yourself to that when you're in the area. And so I think all those little things kind of helped me plant my seeds as far as my Dodgers fandom. And then as I become an adult, obviously it's grown tremendously.
Oh, that's good. So is there a standout memory from your earlier kind of more, I guess, Dodger Foundation type
Yeah,
moment that you kind of, because I know a lot of people are saying this past World Series, right?
sure.
That a lot of kids, this generation, that is probably the moment where they're, and especially if they went to the parade,
Yeah,
that moment is probably going to be ingrained in their head and memory forever. And then
definitely.
with their family and then just draw a bigger passion for the team and just for
For sure.
baseball in general. So was there a moment with you where you're like, okay, this is it and I will forever remember this memory?
Yeah, I think there are probably a few. One that always resonates with me, and it's not in the so distant past, but it was definitely the 2017 World Series against the Astros. I remember I was living in New York at the time, and my parents were actually visiting. I used to be a consultant, and I actually had a flight out at like 6 a.m. But that game went to extra innings. It was like 5 hours long, and I remember staying up till super late to watch the Dodgers lose, and it was like so heartbreaking. And I think it's because for a lot of Dodgers fans, the 2017 is particularly special because of the cheating thing for sure. But that team was just so good, and I think I still believe that we should have won that World Series. But I think those are the memories as far as sports fans, that even the joys of winning the World Series are awesome, but sometimes the painful ones are the ones that really like galvanize us and help us to reinforce the love of the team. Because when you watch your team lose in such a heartbreaking way, it makes you want it for them, right? And it's like weird. It's a parasocial relationship. I know that the Dodger players and the organization don't necessarily look at me and think like, yeah, like, I want to do this for Daniel, but I don't care about that. For me, it matters to me, and for me, like, these players are like my brothers in a sense, and just seeing them lose, like, it hurts. It hurts.
They're like family.
Exactly. So I think for me, that was definitely a big memory. But I think when I was younger, it was really just like family trips, or even with like church groups, to like the bleacher, like way up in the seats, and you're going in like a big van for everyone because parking is always ridiculous. And I think just experiencing that magic of Chavez Ravine at sunset. Everyone who's been a Dodger fan knows that experience, is just seeing the sunset and just being like, man, it's like the most beautiful place on earth. I think those are the memories for me that really helped instill the joy for the team, and it feeling really emblematic of Los Angeles in a lot of different ways. So for me, I think I would say, like, from childhood, it's just going to the games, being up in the bleachers and watching the Dodgers play in that atmosphere. And then in 2017, I definitely would say, like, as there felt like this build up to us finally making it, not getting it was like, oh man, like, these are my boys for life. And then 2020 was awesome, and it's COVID. And then obviously last year was incredible with Shohei. So I think that's kind of been like some of the tentpole milestones within my journey of my fandom. But it's just, something that I've always been very deeply ingrained in me, as far as sports and the Dodgers being my team.
I love that. And so let's go into social media.
Yeah.
What led you from just being a regular fan to, you know what, I want to share my thoughts and opinions on social media? What was that moment?
Yeah, so I grew up in an era where SportsCenter was like the place you go to for sports, right? The internet was there, but it wasn't natural for us to go online to kind of find the content we want. We were still very much kind of tied to cable subscriptions, and ESPN was just the thing that I loved. SportsCenter in particular, Stuart Scott was an anchor that I just admired tremendously. I thought he brought a flavor to talking about sports that felt very unique at the time. And nowadays it's awesome because anybody with a phone and a camera like I do can put their personality out there. And I think it's awesome. But for me, I think I always had a little bit of this hubris, I would almost say, that I felt like, oh, I can do that. But I always would limit myself and say, but like nobody wants to see me. Like Asian people don't do this kind of stuff. There's all these excuses that I would put up as a reason why I wouldn't try it. But I think at some point it got to a place for me where even to people in my life, I would always say, oh, I think I can do this, or I want to do this, or I would dabble in it, but not be consistent in it. At some point I was like, let me just try. Let me just give this an effort for a season, see where it goes. If people resonate with it, they will come. And if they don't, the people will tell me they're not interested by not following me or not engaging. So I think for me, it was a big step just personally to try and stop coming up with all these excuses as to why I couldn't do what I wanted to do in life. And so that was really the main driver for me. And then again, me thinking that I had something that people would want to hear. So just putting that out there and seeing what would happen with that. So that was kind of like the reason why I started doing all this. And it definitely has grown a lot more than I even anticipated for myself. But I've been very grateful for a lot of consistent people coming back to comment and follow and seem to enjoy my content. So it's been a fun ride from that perspective.
I mean, I definitely think you give a different, even though it's Dodger content, I feel like you really give a different take on it. And it's not like this way out of left field, but it's just your personality, which I think is a good fit. And it's like a good, kind of like I'm talking to a friend, or I'm hearing my friend give me the rundown and their thoughts and opinions type of thing. That's how it feels.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I think I have a lot of insecurities too around, I think particularly with baseball fans, there's just so much information and like nuance to the game that there is an insecurity of like, I know I'm not the most understanding of the game at a technical level. I know there are all these like different aspects of the game that maybe I'm not hitting on, but I think what I really had to remove myself from is this idea that I need to be everything to everyone, but I just need to be myself to the people that I guess enjoy that, and over time that will build, so I think I do appreciate that kind of feedback from you, just because for me sometimes I do have that like sense of am I smart enough for this, or do I know enough for this for people to like
No,
take me legitimately? And
don't
yeah,
think
all that
that.
stuff.
Yeah, my husband grew up playing baseball. He actually played with the Gonzalez brothers,
Oh, very cool.
Adrian, and so but he played catcher. So he's very when we watch the game, he's kind of like 5 seconds before the sports broadcasters
Hmm.
and giving. And I told him, I go, you should just record yourself because you're saying the same thing they're
Yeah.
saying. But he comes in more with like different lingo. And I'm always asking him, well, what does that mean? What is that?
Hmm.
So I understand where you're coming from. And I think that's why I appreciate your content because it's just a more of a simpler form
Yeah,
of
for sure.
sports talk.
For
Again, like
sure.
if you're just talking to a friend,
Right.
which I so appreciate. And I feel like that's what your followers kind of get from that too, is
Yeah.
just you're just this fan that's sharing your thoughts and opinions and breaking news and all of that,
Yeah.
but at a friendly FaceTime, hey, I'm
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
Dodger friend, which I really appreciate and
Well,
love.
that's definitely something I'm going for. So I do appreciate that that's coming through and you providing me that kind of positive response. So I can keep going with confidence in that.
So then I'm assuming you still continue to put out content. So I'm assuming you saw like the feedback was great. So you just pursued it.
Yeah, man, I don't know why I kept going with it. I think again, it was almost like a personal challenge to me because people in my life will tell you I always have these moments of inspiration, but a lot of times it will be something that I like love for a minute and then it kind of like dies out. And something that I really wanted to push myself to do was just be consistent. Stop worrying so much about the results. Stop worrying so much about you not being at this level or at this kind of follower number and just keep working on my craft. And I think for me, it was honestly just a personal challenge of not just in the content creation, but just as like a person, like can you be someone that's committed to something and willing to grind towards something that you want? And if you really believe in it and you do it, I think there's enough proof to believe that it will happen. But I think for me, it was something that I felt almost like ashamed about of like how grand I would speak to others about, oh, I think I could do this, I could do that. And they're like, okay, but like, where is it? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't have that yet. So wanting to not be someone that would always say that and then never produce, but just be like, well, let's see. And I think to me, a year and a half into this, I've at least proven out to some level that I can get there. And I do have, larger aspirations as well. But yeah, to your point, I think as I saw the follower count grow up, the view count grow up, the comments, the engagement increase, I was like, okay, cool. I think there is something here, and let me lean into this and try to make it as big as I can possibly take this.
I love that. And I think what you just said right there kind of resonates with everybody and anything that they're in because we're always our biggest doubters and we're
Yeah,
our biggest hurdle to overcome. Because even podcasting is a beast in
it's tough.
itself.
It's tough.
Yeah. And it's all mental. It's like, why am I doing this? Or, just getting guests. And surprisingly, I didn't start off as a Dodger or sports
Hmm.
um, podcast. It was just about sharing people's stories. But for some reason,
Yeah,
lately it's been Dodger and baseball related.
yeah.
So I'm not mad at that. But
I mean,
but yeah,
I think that's one of the hardest things. It's like finding that product market fit and not being opposed to going towards the thing that it seems like the fans or whomever want. I think there's always that weird balance of like, do I just lean into the things that are popular or am I able to maintain some sort of personal enjoyment or passion out of the thing as well as going towards the thing that people resonate with? I think that's always like a tough trade-off because you could easily just lean into a bunch of high interest topics that you might have no care for, but I think then people eventually will be like, oh, like you're just doing this to get attention. Versus if it's grounded or rooted in something you actually enjoy, then it can
yeah.
lead to really fun, engaging content or conversation. So, I do want to, that's also tough to try to figure out exactly what is your niche and how do you lean into that the best that you can.
It's so tough. And it's so tough to just continue going,
Yes.
like you said.
Yeah.
So, this is my commitment as well to myself
I
of
love that.
just letting it happen. So, what you said, I completely understand. So, what's been, I guess, is there, I guess, speaking of hurdles and stuff like that, have you
Mhm.
faced any hurdles yourself other than
Yeah.
just being consistent?
I think so. I think that actually is the biggest hurdle because there are days when I definitely don't want to post or like I'm like
Mm,
dying to find something to talk about. Um, and I think the challenge for me is wanting to present something that people can actually interact with versus essentially like holding up a newspaper and, or like a
mm.
picture and saying like here's this picture, talk about it how you will. Because what I find that I've done more than anything, because again I don't think people come to me from expertise. Actually I know people don't come to me from expertise. The comments will tell you I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think what I leaned into was this sense of community that I feel like I've created where people know in the mornings there's going to be a video that they can talk about. Before the game there's going to be a video that they can kind of preview the game with me, and after the game there's going to be a reaction video that they can comment on and say like, oh yeah, that was crazy. And I realize if I'm just like the platform in which other Dodgers fans can come in and talk about the game together, that's kind of cool too, right? It's like people always want to find a place to debrief after any kind
It's
of
like a
live
chat
sport.
room. Yeah.
Exactly. In a sense, it's a chat room, and I think for me, understanding that okay, cool, I have an opportunity with the number of followers I have to potentially create that space for people. I think that's kind of what I needed to find for myself. So as far as a hurdle, I think it's kind of determining who am I to the people that interact with me. Am I this? Do I want to lean into all of this super technical parts of baseball? Which I was like, probably not. I've never played myself, and again, something that people talk about all the time. Have I played? Answer: No, I haven't played. But that's why I'm not approaching it or coming from it from a player's perspective. I'm just speaking to what I see, what I understand about the game from watching and trying to learn as best as I can. And so I think the hurdle was trying to really understand who am I to people and how do I then lean into that as best as I can while also being able to challenge myself to grow if I feel like that's necessary or if I want to, and not kind of shoehorning myself into this specific thing all the time. And that's where, I think I always have struggles might be strong, but desires, I think, to want to see like how big can I take this? Can I be more than just Dodger Dan? Can I be many things to many people? So I think that's always a continual kind of
Once
discovery.
LeBron leaves, then maybe
Yeah, exactly. Laker Dan's in the
get a
house.
little bit of Laker. Yeah. So then, how do you decide? There's so many news information coming out with the Dodgers.
Hmm.
So how do you decide what to share and what
Yeah,
not to share?
I think I try to do my best to at least provide all of the major news headlines. So when like Austin Barnes and Chris Taylor got DFA, those are two of my most popular videos. One, because they were such longtime Dodgers, and so that news obviously resonated with a ton of people. But I do think part of it is I get a lot of my news from like Twitter or other sources, and I know a lot of other people may not be there or they're not that interested in trying to find those things on their own. So part of what I do is providing myself as like a news source to Dodgers fans to let them
Mm.
know, hey, here's like things that are happening. But I think outside of that, it really just kind of comes down to, I think, like specific players I might have particular resonance with, or thoughts and opinions about certain things that are happening within the organization I want to share. And obviously, I'm not going to capture everything. Like before Kim Hong joined the Dodgers, like on the major league roster, I would talk about how he's doing in the minor leagues. I have personal vested interest in seeing him being promoted to the major league team and doing well. People have called me out on it. I make no bones about it. I'm Korean. I would love for a Korean or a Korean person to always be on the team because it helps make it more resonant for me.
LA.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just I just feel like that's a perfect marriage. But to the question around how do I go about determining it, honestly is not super strategic from that perspective. It's just how can I capture the most relevant information for all fans to be able to be in the know so that they can tell their friends, oh, did you hear XYZ thing? And then this is I guess where my personal kind of spin comes in is like particular players or particular issues that are facing the team, like a Michael Conforto type of thing, I'll talk about because it's on my mind. So I think that's how I kind of go about it. It's a pairing of news items as well as just what is on my mind. Is it something that I think other Dodgers fans are thinking about? We'll see. Let me put it out there and then we can talk about it.
Well, let's dive into some Dodger talk.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conforto,
Yeah.
Alana, I just watched Foul Territory with Alana and Clint, and she said, let me find it. I quoted her, and I had to rewind it too because I wanted to make sure I quoted her right. She says that her opinion is he is here for the long term of the regular season, but it doesn't mean he will make the postseason roster. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, we've all heard
Yeah.
the even Dodger social media threads, like every post. you'll see comments about Conforto. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think I just want to make it clear. I have no issues with Mike Conforto as a person. I
Same.
actually think he seems like a very good guy. It's always in the
Yeah.
context of like just the performance on the field.
Yes.
I think for me, baseball is such a unique sport because the averages and the numbers, they are an aggregate of like so many opportunities. And it's always easy to hone in on small stretches where you see hope and you're like, oh, look, he hit a home run today or like yesterday. And it's like, see, there's like upward trajectory over the last 5 games, over the last 10 games. And I think baseball, it's so unique in that way because we know in our minds, these numbers you see, the averages tell you overall how they've been doing. But I think baseball fans, because it's such a failure driven sport, we just like gravitate to these small signs of hope. Like, no, he's on the way up. We're so close to it. And so I think that's just been the Mike Conforto experience. I think he's definitely gotten more opportunities at this point than I think most people
What
would
if? Yeah.
warrant. But as people have noted, very heavy investment into him. So I understand from an organizational standpoint why they would continue to ride with him until the proverbial wheels fall off. But I think the biggest thing for me out of that is recognizing that at the end of the day, the team is going to make the best decision to help us win the World Series again. And them signaling that, hey, he's not a lock for the playoffs, at least says we may have buried our heads in the sands for the regular season, but we know that when the playoffs come, it has to come down to either merit based or what fills the need. And left field is a position I think a lot of players could play. And so if that's the case, the bat needs to be there, and it just hasn't been there consistently enough. I think for anyone to have confidence in that, I'm not saying that he can't have a heroic moment. I mean, that's baseball. That's why it's a beautiful sport. But we haven't seen the things that would tell us that's coming. So I think that's for me, as far as the question around how does it make me feel, I think it encourages me to know that the Dodgers will make the decisions that are best for the team as far as a roster organization to help us win and won't just be based on, well, we paid this guy this much money, so he kind of has to be there without a choice.
Yeah. And speaking of left field and outfield in general, what are your thoughts? Because it's kind of been loud amongst fans of moving Mookie around and Teo Oscar around. What are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, so again, and this is, we're already diving into areas which I know true hardcore baseball is going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, that's fine. Again, this is just my opinion as someone who watches the
Exactly.
sport.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I think for me, the cries for Mookie Betts to right field, although I do understand it, I don't necessarily think it solves all the problems because moving him to right field means that based on our current roster construction, that means either Miguel Rojas is going to play more often, who, again, over the last 10 games has been awesome, or Alex Freeland has to play more often, who defensively is awesome, but the bat is just not there. And so I think we go into, or we don't consider maybe the second, third decisions we have to make based off of something like moving Mookie to right field. That it sounds very easy, like problem solved, but then there are these other questions that people, I guess, don't want to always go into because it's not, oh, like, okay, we'll figure that out. So I think for me, again, at the end of the day, if that's a decision they want to make, that's fine. But I think we've seen Mookie's bat get hot and he's still playing shortstop. He's been playing shortstop very well. Has Freddie Freeman's defense been a huge help for him? Yes. I think Freddie Freeman deserves all the flowers because some of the stuff he does at first base, I'm just like, man, he is working hard.
I know. His splits.
Yeah, it's crazy. Very flexible guy, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we've seen the defense be strong. We've seen the bat improve. So if that allows us to have more bats in the lineup, such as you talked about Teoscar, I would love to see him back in left field. I would actually love Andy Pages in right field, where I think he's our best right fielder, and then Tommy Edman or someone like that in center. I actually think that provides us the best defense overall and still have a lot of pop in our lineup. And that's just how that's how I felt about it for a while now.
I think a lot of people agree with you on that.
Yeah. So
I do too.
We'll see. And again, I don't know anything. For those of you who are listening who says I don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. That is just my opinion on how I think our roster will be best kind of optimized.
So what do you think for before playoffs? What are your thoughts on the team? Like these series that are, I think we don't have a game today.
No.
But I know we're So what are your thoughts?
I am eternally confident in our team. I think, again, the thing with baseball, it's such a long season. So there are tons of stretches where we're just like, this team is not doing anything. It's like that meme of the person with the stick poking the rock, like, do something. But we look up and we are, 6 games behind Milwaukee, who just had an insane run. So it's like, that's fine. But other than them, we're near the top of the league as far as our record is. We still have the most runs scored in all of Major League Baseball. So at the end of the day, this team, one, has not really been healthy for long stretches of the season. Max Muncy, who in the offseason, I was like the biggest Max Muncy proponent. I just believe in the offensive ability and how much we pay him relative to what he produces. You just don't get that kind of ROI, right, across the league.
Mm-hmm.
And so with him being out for a lot of July and then again, it's like we haven't really actually been that healthy all season, and we've still been playing near the top of the league. And so for me, I feel like as we're getting healthier, we're getting people back. We have a healthy rotation for the first time, it feels like, in like forever. It's just all the signs point towards the Dodgers having a very strong team for the postseason and the rest of the regular season. We have the easiest schedule. I think there's a lot of signs that tell us September is going to be great for us, and then we're going to have a deep October run. So I feel very confident, but I am a Dodger fan, so what else am I going to say?
I know. And then I also think, though, too, of last season. I mean, come on. How were we back then?
Yeah.
And even through the playoffs, we weren't strong. We had a lot of injuries and a lot of ups and downs. So I kind of feel like if we keep thinking of that and we made it through and we won the World Series at that, then I kind of feel like we're at a great start right now.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's like, just look at what happened last year, and we had to do that out of necessity. We don't want to do bullpen games. That's not by design what we want. If all of our guys are healthy, our rotation is insane. It was exactly what people were crying about in the offseason, that this rotation is insane. We had a lot of injuries. We didn't see it for a lot of the season. And then now that they're getting healthy, people are reminded, oh yeah, these guys dominated the offseason and this team is a juggernaut. So for me, I'm not sorry about that. I'm excited to see it. And so that confidence for me is very high with the Dodgers.
And then we got Kike back too.
We did. And his bat has immediately provided so much lift. I made a video about this maybe a couple weeks ago, but no matter what he's doing in the regular season, I just believe Kike has some kind of magic to him that this team needs. And I think it's like, baseball is so unique because I feel like being hot at the plate is like a very nebulous thing. Like, why you're hot, who knows? But he gets hot, and I do believe the team feeds off of that, just from a confidence, a swagger, the camaraderie. He is so much of that glue guy, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. He is both very skilled, but has that unique ability to just bring the team together. So, Kike Hernandez, I'm very happy he's back and hitting.
I agree, because you definitely saw the difference when he wasn't with us.
Yeah.
Like in the dugout, I told my husband, I go, we need a Kike back, either him back or somebody like him that can get them out of the mental funk or whatever is going on day to day, game to game.
Yes.
And just to be kind of like you said, he's more than that hype man for the team. He's way more that. He has his skills. Mm-hmm. He's great at bat and all that he does.
Yeah.
But he also brings extra hype man cheerleading type of thing that our team needs, and they love, and they're receptive to it, and they gravitate to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even when he wasn't playing, I saw him, I think he jumped on Freddie Freeman during one of the winnings at the end. And at first I was like, oh no, like Freddie Freeman's, his whole like foot ankle thing is it like 100%. And then you're injured. What are you doing?
I think he's the ultimate vibes guy. You need those kinds of people, like 100%.
Yeah. So we saw him, the team without him, and I love the team with him. So I definitely agree with that. And as far as October goes, what are your thoughts about that?
I think it'll be interesting just off the bat who they decide to have on the active roster versus not. I think that's going to be a big decision, especially amongst some of the position players. And again, this goes back to the Michael Conforto conversation. And so I think I'm interested in that. But I think from a bigger picture perspective, I would really love to play the Padres in the NLCS if possible, because, and I don't know where you land on this. I think it's like a weird thing where Dodgers fans, I think, hate to consider the Padres a rival because of the lack of history. And I think I've made an argument on my channel a bunch where it's like, rivalries can be temporary. And I think for temporary purposes, it is the best rivalry in all of baseball. Will Smith and Mookie Betts had a podcast where he said, oh no, like Red Sox, Yankees is better. Maybe, but I just think with the fan bases, and you live in San Diego, so I'm sure you can't manufacture that kind of sports hate. It's not real hate. I don't hate anyone, but that sports hate is hard to manufacture, and it is just so real between the teams that I would love to see them. But overall, I just hope that we're healthy, because I do think that in baseball in particular is such a health driven sport where you can lose your rotation to Tommy John and like you have no starting pitchers. And I think that's just very unfortunate. So I just really hope for a very healthy Dodgers team and see, are we the best? And if we lose, that's going to happen in sports. I won't be happy, but it happens. But would love to see our team fully healthy and just be a juggernaut. I just love dominance, and luckily I'm a Dodgers fan, so I think I would just love to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think my main goal and my main heart is I just want them healthy. And I know it's a grind. They had a shorter time since they won, thankfully, last season, but it makes their time to recoup, spend time with family, and all that they need to just to kind of like disconnect. It was
Mhm.
very short. And then here they are grinding it out again. You know, it's a, what do they say? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
so in this marathon, I just want them to be healthy and dominate whoever they need to
Yes.
dominate.
I'm a
And
simple
that's that.
person. Just win, Dodgers. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's all I want. Even if it's just by one,
Yeah.
just
A win is a win. I'll just take a win.
exactly. So, what are your thoughts going into 2026?
So,
Players,
yeah.
anything.
I mean, it'll depend on if we win this year or not, obviously. But I think for me, the thing that's on my mind a lot is just Roki Sasaki. I think it was obviously a very ballyhooed signing during the offseason, and I think for good reason. And the transition has been much rougher. And it's interesting because I think as fans, you kind of decide early on which side you're on something, and you pretty much just stay ingrained in that. So if you're a Roki supporter, you're always seeing the glimpses of greatness and you're like, that's what we're hoping for. And then if I won't say a hater, but if you're a doubter of Roki or you think he's overhyped, just like, this guy can't even throw a strike in major leagues. This guy, like, he can't even control his pitches. And so I think for me, seeing how he comes into the rotation, I'm very eager to see. And paired with that is, does Clayton Kershaw stay for another year? And I think his performance has been incredible. I mean, August, he was just lights out. And a lot of people in my comments again have been saying, well, it's the regular season. This is what he always does. But I do believe that his age has changed his mentality on when he is or isn't capable of. And I think that's changed the way he pitches. And I think Clayton Kershaw with a different mentality around what he's capable of, but still able to execute with an 89-mile-per-hour fastball, I think to me tells me that if he wanted to go longer, he could. Now, with our rotation and all the arms that we have, is that a decision we're going to make? I don't know. It's very tough, especially with someone like Clayton Kershaw. But I think for 2026, those two pitchers in particular are something I've been thinking about long term. Like, how are they going to fit in? Besides, obviously, some of the moves around the fringes, like Max Muncy as well, like what happens with him because he does have a team option. So, I think for me, those are probably like the big three names in my mind because I just love them: Roki, Clayton, and Max Muncy. But outside of that, I'm just like, well, let's get to the end of the season, win this, and then
Yeah,
we can think about what's going to happen in 2026.
yeah. And then it's this, with Sasaki, I believe he's 22, right?
He's young, yeah, 22,
Yeah,
23, yeah.
because that's exactly my daughter's age.
Okay,
So I'm always thinking maturity wise, and I'm thinking, how would she feel just stepping out in Dodger Stadium and being amongst all of these fans and
yeah,
all the pressure that, because we know Dodger fans give
hmm,
pressure. We're not any other city where it's the
yeah,
least, because I
yeah,
feel like a lot of times Dodger players that do leave and go to smaller towns, they kind of get better because they have this
yeah,
relief and they don't have this pressure of doing the best 100 out of 100 every day. And so I personally feel, I think I'm looking at it more as a mom where I feel he just
oh,
came here
sweet,
and he's like, that's what I guess that's kind of what I saw is,
yeah,
yeah, mechanical, maybe he needs to get like another type of pitch and kind of get that down dialed too. And because doesn't he have just like one or two pitches from what I'm aware of that
yeah.
he
Well,
uses
I
all
mean,
the time?
I think it's the amazing splitter that he has, like the forkball thing, is kind
Yeah,
of what
yeah.
his kind of go to is. But without consistency from the fastball or any other pitch that hitters are worried about, it's just not as effective.
Yeah. So I think just, I guess, a technical part, getting that down, but also as just a young adult
Yeah,
being thrown into this huge pressurized fan base and team, it could probably be overwhelming in my
Yeah.
opinion. So I kind of felt they did good by putting him out there, testing him out, and then kind of putting him aside and letting him just figure it out, everything that he needs to, like mental, game wise,
Yeah.
skill wise. Let's just tune it and get him comfortable. At least that's just my thought and opinion about him. And then slowly put him back,
Yeah.
and then let him kind of getting his feet wet, so to say.
Yeah. I think, and I hope that Roki's not really on social media that much, because I do think
Mm,
in America we have a very, I don't want to say hate filled, but we are prone to be very aggressive in our disappointment or expressions of anger towards players. And a lot of times, you'll see screenshots from players about things that people say to them. It's crazy, And to your point, he is a young guy. He is in a new country and probably experiencing a level of scrutiny and attention that he has never ever. You can't prepare for that, and people might say he's a professional. You have to just put it to the side. But it's a lot harder to do that in actuality than you telling them to do that. And I think for Roki, all these things are part of it. I remember his first start in Dodger Stadium, and he was crying because he just was disappointed
yes,
in himself, right?
that's the visual I had. And that's kind of where I started looking at him as like my kid,
Yeah.
of what's going through his head. And players are harder on themselves than we
Yes.
are on them. And
Yes.
so I can only imagine his own thoughts and his opinions on himself that day and the days after.
Yeah. And I think I made a video. It was actually one of my most popular videos because I made the argument that if you can't understand why he's crying right now, and I hate when people say, "Oh, there's no crying in baseball." Yes, that's a nice little quote from a movie, but I think for me, if you've never cried from failure in your life, my argument is that you've never been put in a position where anything that mattered was expected out of you. And I think for me, that was him not crying because he didn't do well necessarily. It is like a frustration knowing that he is better than what he has shown. And it's like a personal, like, I don't understand right now why I can't do what I know I can do at the highest level. And it's like that. It's a true just frustration cry. It's not this like, oh, I'm just crying because no. I
It's
firmly
like,
believe.
why isn't it working?
Correct.
Why is my brain and my
Correct.
hands not working
Yeah.
together? It's just, and whatever other
Right.
thoughts he's having,
Right. And if you can't understand that, to me, you've never done anything that matters. And I know that's a
or
harsh
challenged
statement.
yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's like, if you don't understand that, we can't have a conversation about this because we're just never going to align on the fundamental understanding that Roki is highly skilled at something and he's not performing up to his expectation of himself more so than anything else anyone else might say about him.
I completely agree. I mean, we even had Muncie, who's so much older and so
Yeah.
much more matured in the sport, and he got heckled. And what was his stats? His
It was
stats was,
bad. It was like in
yeah,
the hundreds. And
but he's
yeah.
had so many years, on his resume of experience where he has that comfortableness to not just go run away or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. He wants to stand face to face with it.
Yep.
And but even them they have their own hurdles and challenges with fans
Yep.
too. So yeah, I hope he's off social media. I think that would
Yeah.
be best
I
for
agree. Totally
for
agree.
him. So wrapping it up, what's your big goal with this team? I know World
Man.
Series, yes,
Yeah.
but
I think sports is so funny because we go through this every season basically. Like it's the same cycle. They start a regular season and then they end in the playoffs, and one team wins and everybody else is considered losers. Um, I think for the Dodgers, I would just love to see them. Uh, I guess for me, I would love to see them be able to bring up some of the young guys in the farm system because I do think, and I can understand it from a fan's perspective, everyone outside of the Dodger fandom says you guys buy your championships, which again I have a slight quibble with because everybody spends money, and I understand maybe
or
the
if they don't want to spend money, then that's
right,
on them, and that's
right,
not
and
great for them.
I
Yeah.
understand maybe there's a certain level to like with the deferred payments that other teams can't do. Okay, fine, that's fair, but otherwise, like everyone's spending money. But I do understand, and again, why the 2017 is so special is like Seager, Bellinger, Peterson, Kershaw. Like these are guys that came up with the Dodgers, and I think there is a special connection from the fans to the team when we have those kind of homegrown guys. And so I think people are loving the Alex Freeland experience and the Dalton Rushing experience. These are the guys that have been talked about for so long. And so I know that they are very shiny trade pieces, but if like a Josue De Paula or Zaire Hope can come up to the big leagues with the Dodgers, I think that would be great for the fan base to be able to just like we have some of our guys and we're not just out here spending billions of dollars to quote unquote buy these championships. So I think that's a long-term thing for the Dodgers. I would love to see that. Because it just, I think, again, creates a different level of intimacy between the city and the team where it feels like in a world in which we are always going to be the billion-dollar spenders, it feels like there is still this kind of homegrown aspect to it that can help fans connect to it in a way that I do think is different versus if you're just shipping in people from, Japan or Korea or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of youth, I think our team needs more youth because a lot of our guys are getting older.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good time to start bringing in Rushing and Freeland. And Rushing's been awesome. He's like a
Great.
mini Will Smith.
Yeah.
That's all I see.
Yeah, the bat's probably not as good as Will Smith.
No, but
He's
it could
great
get,
at the plate.
yeah,
for
as
sure.
long as he's consistent, even if
Yeah.
it's small ball, just getting the job done, getting on the base or getting somebody else doing whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
He's been great.
That's why I was happy he got. It was a base hit yesterday, last night, and then the home run in San Diego. It's just like you want to see those signs of him figuring it out there because, we passed up on a lot of different trade opportunities to keep him, and we moved Fiducia to the Rays earlier this year, and so I think yes, all those little indicators towards him figuring it out offensively, I think is great for the Dodgers fans because if we could have Will Smith and Rushing just be the backstops for the next 10 years. That's great for the team. I would love that. So I agree with you. It's been a fun ride seeing these guys come up, find their confidence, find their footing, feel good about them playing at this level.
I agree. And speaking of 2026, what about you? What are your goals, dreams with everything you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, people have talked a lot about or asked about me starting a podcast, which I've tried different variations of podcasting in the past. I think to your point, it is a different grind. It is a different kind of level of consistency, finding people to talk to and scheduling. But I do want to try and expand what I'm doing, whether it's in a different format like a podcast or maybe doing more videos like on YouTube and things like that. I do want to try and bring more of me to you guys because I'm so interesting. But I think, again, I just go back to I feel like there are so many fans who want to connect with other fans and with the team in different ways. And if I can be kind of a conduit to that, with my unique take or personality, and that's the reason why people want to watch me or listen to me, then how do I increase some of that and maybe bring in more casual fans or people who maybe didn't like the Dodgers? They're like, oh, that guy's funny. That guy talks about it in a way that just sounds like I'm just listening to gossip or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think trying to continue to increase my creativity around some of this stuff and continue to deliver good content for people so that people can enjoy the team and enjoy some of the ancillary kind of commentary and community around it.
I love that. So I want to close up with a couple of rapid fire questions,
Okay, all right,
Dodger related.
let's go.
So what's your favorite Dodger walk-up song this season?
Oh, I just have to say Andy Pajes. I would love for you to change it, but I'm just going to put that to the side right now. I know people don't like it, but I think Shohei Ohtani's Michael Bublé. Good. It is a little bit of a shock, but it's just I don't know.
It hits.
Excited. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good for Shohei right now. So
yes, I think it hits when he went up to when he pitched the first game.
Yeah,
and they played it when he was barely walking out of the dugout, and then the shot of the cameraman. I think it kind of went from ground up. And I told my husband, I go, this is like an opening to a documentary of him. Yes. And then they had the music playing. I was like, wow, this is just all together, just like a movie scene.
Yeah, exactly. So I think people were like, oh, why did he change it? But I think it's been good this season.
I think so too. Yeah. And what would your walk-up song be?
Ooh, dang, this is a good question. I feel like there's a lot of good options. Oh man, this is rapid fire. I should answer quickly. I'm buying time right now. Oh gosh, I don't know if I have a good answer for this. I'm stuck.
Do you have a couple of them?
Yeah, maybe you can edit this down so it seems like I said it
it's okay.
man, I feel like I'm so
Or you could be
confused.
like, who has like 5 songs? Muncie. He has like
Oh,
a
I
few
think
in
Muncie.
rotation.
I think Miguel Rojas actually has like 9 different songs that
Oh
he
my
makes use
gosh.
of.
Yeah.
Um, but I would probably. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I grew up
No.
loving Kanye West, so I might pick
Oh,
like a
I love
Kanye.
him.
Yeah, I think I might pick a Kanye West song. Maybe um, I might just pick "Homecoming." I think that's a
Okay,
good
that's a
song.
good one.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the intro to that one too.
yeah,
That's a good one. I love Kanye.
yeah.
So bases loaded, bottom of the ninth.
Mm.
Who's the Dodger you trust to bring it home?
Ooh, man.
I mean, we got Freddie, but
There's so
aside
I know
from
there's
Freddie,
so I mean how do you go against Freddie Freeman? He hit a
yeah.
game-winning grand slam in the last World Series. We have so many good options, but I got to write for this guy because I've been calling him the best catcher in baseball for this specific reason. I think I'll pick Will Smith, and that's
Hmm.
crazy to say with a team of former MVPs like
No, it's not
himself. But
crazy. He's
uh,
performed.
you talked about this a little bit earlier, but I know I can't deny Cal Raleigh. He's hit 50 home runs. Like he is amazing. But the reason why I say that Will Smith is the best catcher in baseball is that I think doing it for the Dodgers, and this is going to sound so like conceited of me, it's different. The pressure is different. Honestly, the Dodgers fan base is intense, and I think to be able to perform in those biggest moments, runners in scoring position, he has one of the highest batting averages. I think, especially in this immediate moment, I trust Will Smith to come through when we need him.
I agree. You have to be a different type of breed and to play for the Dodgers and the fan base. Speaking of, I just remember the last series with the Padres down here,
Mm-hmm.
and that particular fan that
Oh
was
yes,
heckling
that was
our
awesome.
boys. So, what are your thoughts? What did you think when you saw Otani go directly to him?
I love it. I think that we need more of that in sports where we can heckle, but it's under kind of the understanding that this is all in good nature. There is no visceral, again, hatred towards an
I mean, I don't
individual.
want to do like a Duran type of heckling
Correct.
that
Yeah,
he's beginning. No,
there's no need for
no,
that, right? You don't
no.
need to go to that place. But if you just say, "Oh, you're gonna strike out, you're a loser," that's fun. That's part of what makes sports enjoyable to have that back and forth. And I love Shohei's response. It reminds me when he got hit by the Padres in LA, where he just waved off the team and he went over to talk to them, and he's just like, "Hey, like, what do you
He's
you're
like,
gonna hit
don't
me?
even
That's
worry
fine."
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the All Star game, he makes a joke with I think it was Estrada who hit. And it's just like that's what sports is. It's like we're all fighting for the same thing, so there's going to be intensity, but it's still just a game. And so when fans are in good nature heckling someone and then he hits a home run, he can high five him and it's all like, yeah, I got you. That's what I think makes sports awesome. So I loved it. I think that video was hilarious.
And I think it was like the perfect touch,
Yes,
to kind of like quiet him down.
correct, exactly. And it's like go for it as long as you're not saying anything that you wouldn't mind your wife or your mom or your family member to hear you say. Then it's like
Yeah.
it should all be okay, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Good sports fun. Yeah. So, what's your go to Dodger Stadium food or snacks?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, I'm a cheapo. I'm not spending a lot of money
Same.
at Dodger Stadium, so I don't know all the best things. But I think just for the vibes, I always get a Dodger dog. Is it, I'm gonna
Same.
be honest, is it the best hot dog in the world? No. But are hot dogs ever that good? I
No,
also say
they
no.
change too.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
hot dog. So, but I think you got to get the Instagram picture. You got to story that. So you got to get the Dodger dog. So I will always get a Dodger dog at Dodger Stadium. But outside of that, I'm probably eating before or after, maybe even bringing in a water bottle because I don't want to pay the price.
I know. It's just, I know my husband keeps saying, he goes, we're paying for Otani, we're paying for the players.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I understand when people say that, and although yes, a lot of times costs come down to the consumers, and it is unfortunate. But what's the alternative? Not have the Dodgers in my life? I don't know. If this is the tax I have to pay to enjoy this, then I guess I'll pay it. And I don't go to the games often anyway, so it's fine.
Same. I know. I know. We only go, I think we go like a handful of times a
Mm-hmm.
year, if that. But we're coming from San Diego
Right,
all
that's
the way
super
up
far.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's in education. So we try and go during, more of like his
Yeah.
breaks, school breaks.
Well, that kind of
So
works. Summer,
we're,
that's when the meat of the baseball season is. So I guess that works out
yeah,
pretty
that
well.
really works. Yeah.
Yeah.
And spring break really works. And then he's going to get a break at the end of September.
Okay.
So
Nice.
hopefully that'll work out too. I'm gonna look to see what series are going on then.
Yeah.
But where can everybody follow you?
Oh, Thank you. So yeah, TikTok Dodger Dan or at Dodger Dan 213. It's the same on Instagram and X if you're on there as well. But most of my stuff I cross post mostly on TikTok and Instagram. So that's probably the best place to find me.
And thank you so much, Dan. And I hope everybody follows you because it's such a treat. And it's if you love sports, particularly Dodgers, you're gonna love hearing him and all that he has to say. So thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure, Priscilla. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks.